We are now moving to a very special roundtable where we are going to be inviting the Ministerial Roundtable to come to the stage. Gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, investing globally provides huge opportunities, but before investing, one needs extensive knowledge about the ecosystem. The post-digital revolution world will be informed by decisions made today, and the leaders of global ecosystems will drive this revolution on behalf of their community. With this in mind, as an affiliated partner of the G20 Global Partnership for Financial Inclusion, the World Business Angels Investment Forum is hosting this Ministerial Roundtable as a global convergence of policymakers to discuss in detail the G20's agenda to increase financial inclusion in the world. The discussants will explain how they plan to encourage collaboration between the ecosystems they lead. They will also explore ways to develop an international dialogue between public and private institutions that will empower early and post-early stage equity markets in response to the worldwide digital transformation. Thank you for your attention.
Now, with an extraordinary panel, we require an extraordinary moderator. We would like to welcome back to the stage once again His Excellency Lutfi Elvan, the President of the Committee on Planning and Budget of the Grand Assembly of Turkey and former Deputy Prime Minister. If you please could come and command our panel, we would appreciate it. Thank you so much. Very good, and I will read out the names of our panel participants, and if you could come to the stage as I read it out, that would be appreciated. We would like to welcome His Excellency Eduard Şalci, Minister of State for the Protection of Entrepreneurship at the Republic of Albania. Thank you very much. We would like to welcome His Excellency Dato Lokman Hakim Ali, the Secretary General for the Ministry of International Trade and Industry of Malaysia. Thank you very much. We would like to welcome Her Excellency Safia Boli, Minister for Private Investment, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises and National Entrepreneurship of the Republic of Mali, to join us once again. Thank you so much. Also, Her Excellency Professor Amina Gurib Fakim, the 6th President of the Republic of Mauritius. Thank you. We would like to welcome Her Excellency Marta Delgado Peralta, Undersecretary for Multilateral Affairs and Human Rights of the Mexican Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Mexico. Thank you. And finally, we would like to welcome Jose Enrico Milo Roche, the Secretary General of International Affairs of the Andalusia Government of Spain. Thank you very much for joining us. And with that, Your Excellency, the panel is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning and welcome to this roundtable discussion. We have distinguished speakers here today, and they will be sharing their experience and perspective with us. But unfortunately, I was asked to run this session quite short. So we have limited time. I'll try to give you 7 or 8 minutes for each of the speakers. Well, I would like to start from Her Excellency Safia Boli. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for the agreement between you and WBAF. I'm sure in Mali, WBAF will contribute a lot to your ministry and to your country. What we have seen from the experience of other countries is that, I mean, if you want to empower business angels and the economy, I think WBAF has played so far an important role for each countries and business angels as well. I would like to thank Baybars Bey, all his team, and congratulate you for the agreement, as I said. Well, there are several issues to be discussed. as a minister, I mean, I would like to ask you, I mean, what are the key responsibilities of decision makers in order to increase and sustain angel and cross-border investments? And maybe, in fact, I was planning to have 2 rounds, but unfortunately, I mean, I was asked to finish at around 12 o'clock. Maybe we may be over 12. But the second question I want to ask you, what policies have you implemented in your country? I mean, do you have any success story? And how we can increase regional cooperation in venture capital and angel investments? 6 or 7 minutes, you can wrap it up.
With great pleasure.
The floor is yours, please.
Thank you very much. It's actually easier to answer all of those questions together. So my ministry is in charge of, or the one I have the honor of leading, is in charge of promoting private investments, SMEs, and national entrepreneurship. So from that perspective, we do a lot in terms of improving the attractivity of Mali, so as a destination for foreign investments, as well as fostering national investment through the SMEs.
And what made you sign an agreement with the WBAF? I mean, what kind of decision you made? What was your feeling? So I want to hear this as well.
So we did an analysis. So in terms of legislations or laws that public policymakers have put in place, in our case, we have reviewed our code of investment, made it more attractive to foreign investment. But we realized that we needed to strengthen the resilience of our local economy. So the local one was primarily through the SMEs. We launched a program for the development of SMEs, which aims at reviewing about and accompanying 4,000 SMEs in a period of 3 years. So it's quite ambitious. But SMEs also means that when they want to move their ideas from just a project plan to a concrete enterprise that can create wealth and jobs, they need solid financing. In order to apply and be eligible for conventional financing, banks in West Africa have very stringent conditions. So they require collaterals sometimes that are beyond the means of traditional SMEs or the smaller startup companies. We implemented a very strong policy on microfinance as a means to compensate for that as well. Sometimes the microfinance institutions also have interest rates that are quite high. So having a business angels investment summit or forum in Mali would create the alternative financing that is required for those SMEs. So this is what really triggered our thinking process to come and sign an economic agreement, which is the basis upon which we will be opening an office subsequently in Mali. Means of facilitating cross-border, I would say, flow of capital when it comes to business angels. I think every investor, whether it's a business angel or a multinational or venture capital firm, is looking to see a bit more safety and security within the country, safety for their investments, and they want to see a strong justice system. They want to see as well means that will protect their investments so that out of the goodness of their heart, they have invested in a startup, but they want to make sure that that one also goes further. Mali has done a review of its legislative system to basically make sure that the justice system continues to be stronger and the laws continue to protect foreign investors as much as possible. For cross-border movement of capital, I think it's important we establish more of a framework within West Africa. At the moment, we have a free trade agreement, an area within West Africa, which works really well for movement of individuals and capital as well. But for business angels, we have had it a bit organic. So we're looking forward to work with WBAF as well and see how we can further take that at the more regional level. I am mindful of the time, so again, thank you for this opportunity, and I will give the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Our next speaker is Her Excellency Professor Amenah Gurib Fakim, 6th President of Republic of Mauritius. I would like to thank you for coming to Istanbul. It is really a great pleasure for us to see you here in our country. You know, you had been as a president, working as a president of the Republic of Mauritius. What do you think, what kind of responsibilities a government should have regarding the improvement of ecosystem of business angels and venture capital? I mean, what do you think? I mean, what governments should do? What kind of way or path we should follow? And of course, if you and regarding the networking and the communication between the business angels and the countries, and what we should do as well, please.
Thank you very much, and first of all, I'd like to thank Bebas for associating me with this event. I think to better answer your question, I think I will remove the hat of past president, and I will put back my hat of entrepreneur, because I have been an entrepreneur before. And when I decided to leave academia, where I was a university professor, I took away the research findings. I wanted to translate that into a business. This is when I saw all the teething problems that entrepreneurs have, especially those coming from the academic world, when they want to actually go into that space. And I think they should be encouraged to go in that space, because I feel that a lot of talent, a lot of data, a lot of innovative ideas are lost because many universities do not have the framework for protection. In fact, the whole of this morning, I haven't really heard about intellectual property being mentioned up front. And yet we know that if we want to use innovation as a tool to generating wealth, we need a very strong IP. And so when I started looking at the space in which I could translate my work into a business, I was first of all confronted precisely with this theme of intellectual property, because the university does not really have a policy for protecting the data. So most of the data would have been exposed in the public because we would have published it. So one thing that we have to ensure upfront is protection of these intellectual property. Then the second problem that we have is precisely access to capital. Because we don't have the interlocutors, as I said, in the government sector to realize the importance of providing seed capital. We're not even talking about venture capital. We are talking about even angel funding, because this is another issue in Africa where we don't have very high net worth. Many of the Fortune 500, they would include very few African business people. So understanding the very notion of angel capital, venture capital, is an issue. Coupled with this, you need to have the private sector, and the private sector, as you know, the mantra is profit, and they're not really interested in investing in that space. So you have to go back to government. And this is, again, on the African continent, we haven't understood the critical role that government plays in ensuring the takeoff of venture capital and angel funding, and also entrepreneurs. They put in the policy, but they do not have enough expertise within that space to be able to kind of help those entrepreneurs who are coming up. Then the other minefield that we have, because if you look at some sectors in Africa where we could be coming up with fantastic innovative products, where are the markets? Where do we sell these products? So if you look at the African space, and I look again at going back to my country, we need to have all these elements put together, so really to ensure that the young entrepreneur takes flight. And we need them because the African continent, we are generating millions of graduates every year. They're landing on the job market. And we find, unfortunately, over 50% of these youth we are producing on the continent, they are either unemployed or underemployed. And while we talk about the youth as being, of course, the gain for the continent, if we don't empower them, we could be sitting on a power keg. And this is not something that we want for. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. WBAF is saying that we are empowering the economic development. So, are you planning to have an office as well, like Mali, in your country, in Mauritius?
Very much so. Mauritius, we would like to not just operate for WBF only for Mauritius. We operate really at the crossroad of two major continents. So what we do out in Mauritius, I would like it to serve not just the broader African continent, but also at the bridge into Asia. And of course, I think that Istanbul is West Asia.
Okay, thank you.
So definitely there is a huge opportunity for both continents. And if you look at the statistics for the Asian continent, I think it's much more than commendable. And I think Africa has a way to go, but the potential for development, for growth is there.
Okay, thank you. Our next speaker is His Excellency Dato Lokman Hekim Ali, the Secretary General of Ministry of International Trade and Industry of Malaysia. In fact, Dr. Hekim Ali, I would like to ask similar questions to you. The key responsibilities of the decision makers, for angel investors and venture capital as well. Maybe you could give some examples of best practices, if you have in your country, and how we could increase our relations and cooperation in venture capital and angel investments as well. Please, floor is yours.
Very good morning. Thank you, Your Excellency. Allow me to actually extend my minister's regard to everyone whom I'm representing today. I think he would have been very happy to be here amongst this very privileged group of people. Coming back to your issues at hand, I just would like to put up a little bit background context in this for Malaysia's case. We looked at various roadmaps that we have crafted in Malaysia. One of it would be the 5-year, industrial plan or economic plan in Malaysia. The other one would be the industrial master plan in Malaysia, which actually lays out, the vision as well as the strategy and policy for enhancing Malaysia's capacity in the socio-economic sphere. Now, the last decade, we have been focusing more towards enhancing our manufacturing sector, which largely relied on, labor intensive, etc. But the last 5 or 6 or 7 years, we realized that it would be very costly to actually rely on labor, particularly having a lot of foreign laborers in Malaysia running the facility and operations in the manufacturing sector. Hence, the issue of angel investor, angel and venture capital market sector in Malaysia became quite popular. It has its uptake the last couple of years. In fact, the Malaysian Business Angel Network that was only established about 4 or 5 years ago in 2015. But we see that the trend has actually been very active of late. This is because particularly the government has really emphasized for the need of enhancing technology in the various operations of the industry, particularly in the manufacturing sector. Now, those indigenous technology, domestic technology has been emphasized, And the government has came about with, angel investor tax incentives, which encourages more people to come out, and try and invest with startups, companies. I think the tax incentive that is actually provided is a governance which has put in place an acceleration mode of coming out with, good startups, as well as as well as what we call this networking of venture capitalists, as well as the angel investors and services support as well. Now, I had this experience where many manufacturing companies or startups who wanted to come into the manufacturing sector complain about how difficult it is when they already have very good products in place, but they are not able to actually accelerate their product into commercial because of the difficulty of access to financing from financial institutions. They lose time, they would lose their supply chain opportunities, and more importantly, sometimes they would lose the business due to the cost of being offered by a better market supply. Hence, the last 5 or 6 years, the focus is that if we can create an ecosystem which is very friendly to the angel investors, we could actually produce more angel investors to actually finance many of these, startup companies. Now, there are a couple of things that we have been focusing, especially in getting good and quality startup companies, is to look into their innovative solutions. Innovative solutions that would address 3 areas. Particularly, number one, on the reliance of labor-intensive or foreign labor. Number 2 is technology is able to actually take high value-added employment for the local talents. And number 3 is to ensure that their technology that is being produced addresses the issue of sustainability and circular economy. I think Malaysia being one of the country we're only 30 million.
Do you think that we still have some problems at the early stages of startups? Maybe late stages, I mean, we don't seem to have much problems, but at early stages, do you think that we still have some problems, and what we should do, I mean, to really open this up? What do you think?
I think there are challenges within the system, of course. But currently, the Ministry of Education, my ministry, Ministry of International Trade and Industry, we have another newly born ministry, which is the Ministry of Entrepreneur Development, which looks after the SMEs and all, working together with the industry to ensure that we can actually come up with a effective program to work with the university students, vocational and polytechnic students, so they are able to be equipped with the necessary skills, creativity, and innovative, characteristics for them to actually be brave enough to come up with their own startup companies. I mean, but this would take a process, and I guess this would take a while for us to build the whole ecosystem together, both the public and the private sector collaboration. I think your second question is with regards to how do we actually enhance regional collaboration. I think this is something that for ASEAN, for instance, the Malaysian Business Angel Network is also part of the ASEAN wider network. There are programs where the support network services are being enhanced to actually cater for capacity building, enhancement of their activation program, etc. And I guess in this case, the particular point where the network services is focusing on is actually to ensure that both sides, the investors as well as the investees, will be able to mutually benefit from a good ecosystem as well as screening process of angel investors and venture capitalists, packages and system.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, our next speaker is His Excellency Jos Enrique Milo Roger. I guess I write the pronounced. I don't know. I don't really know, but Roger, right? Is that right? Yeah, Rocher. How do you pronounce it?
Rocher.
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 Okay.
Emilio Rocher.
Secretary General of International Affairs of Andalusia Government of Spain. I would like to congratulate you as well for signing the agreement with the WBAF. And WBAF says that we are committed to empowering the economic development of the world. Do you really believe that empowering the economic development can be done with business angels and venture capital?
Sure, certainly. I believe in that. First of all, say that it is an honor for me and a privilege to be here as a member of Andalusian government. I would like to especially thank to Mr. Baibars and all the WBAF organization to inviting me to this ministerial panel. And let me also say something about my region in Spain that I think it will be interesting to all of you to know. Andalusia. Andalusia is the largest region in Spain, with about 9 million people, which had more than 32 million visitors last year, which is today the region most exported in Spain, together with Catalonia, and the one that is growing the most in this time, in an environment of great economic stability. That's a very important thing. Answering a little bit more than your question, let me tell also that Andalusia is already leading the entrepreneurship environment with more than 400,000 entrepreneurs. We are proud to have 13 Andalusian startups here at the World Business Angels Investment Forum in Istanbul, the largest delegation. The Andalusian government is continuously supporting the startups ecosystem and angels investment. We believe in that. We just launched recently the initiative Andalusia Startups Roadshow. This program will select the best 5 startups within the region to get access to finance an accelerated program. I will also explain that the city of Malaga, maybe you know, and I prefer to invite you to visit Malaga, and the Association of Business Angels of Andalusia published in fall 2019 a report about the profile of business angels in Andalusia.
Do we have some startups here coming from Spain at the moment? Among us?
There are 13.
13 startups?
Sorry, 13 startups here.
Very good. Congratulations. Please go ahead.
I would like to say that 82% of Andalusian business angels live in the region. 18% are women duplicating the national average. And 43.
Her Royal Highness is not, she's not around us, but she would be happy anyway.
43% of business angels in Andalusia invest over 100,000 per year. Co-investment is the preferred investment choice, and 65% of business angels invest in at least 3 projects invest per year. That's the figures of Andalusia. And let me also explain an example. This example is the tax incentive program through special laws for private investors as business angels. This entrepreneur law approved in 2018, offers tax reduction of 20% up to 4,000 euros per year. Additionally, Andalusia is also promoting tax incentives in research and development, as well as technological innovation activities. Another example of best practice are the accelerator programs developed with the international leading telephone companies, Telefónica and Vodafone. Open Future by Telefónica already accelerated 120 startups since its beginning 5 years. And the Andalusian government also just launched a project, Accelerator Unit, to accelerate strategic investments, appointing one project manager dedicated in exclusivity to speed up the administrative approach and coordinating all departments' involvement in the work of each startup. That's the examples to answer the question we definitely believe in startups, in business angels, in investing capital venture.
Okay, thank you very much. Dear guest, as you can see, I mean, not only the countries have the vision, but also actions as well. Especially Andalusia, is that
Andalusia.
Right? Andalusia is a good example for startups.
Have you ever been there?
Well, I've been there. I've been there, but many years ago. Many years ago, I was.
I invite all of you to visit Andalusia.
Hopefully. Thank you again. Our next speaker is Her Excellency Marta Delgado Peralta. I would like to congratulate Republic of Mexico as well for signing the agreement with WBAF. But it is interesting, this business angel and venture capital subject is under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Is that right?
That's right.
So I would like to hear as well, I mean, the reasoning of Foreign Ministry as well, because normally, Ministry of Technology, Ministry of Science, or Ministry of Entrepreneurs deal with this. I know you are so active and you've been all around the world regarding these issues. I would like to hear from you as well, the key perspective for decision makers and how we could improve the ecosystem of venture capital and business angels as well. Please.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. It is a privilege for me to be here with you as part of the 2020 Angels Investor Summit. And I am really proud to be part of this gender-balanced panel, and also to come to this forum as one of the few Latin Americans present on this huge event. The President of Mexico is really committed right now with
your team here is quite strong. I mean, I saw them all.
I have here the ambassador of Mexico at Turkey, also our consular, and the director of the Economic Promotion Office, Javier Gileta, Ambassador Martinez. They are both really committed with me here with the consular in order to promote the new strategy for trade and commerce abroad Mexico. And right now, the president decided to extinguish the former Economic Promotion Agency and to bring these attributions to the Foreign Affairs Ministry. Why? Because we do believe that the strategy for Mexico, since we have now signed up the trade agreement with North America, and we have 13 different trade agreements in the country, we need also to be strategic on how to promote, geopolitically speaking, our trade and economic relationships. So by strengthening those political links, we want to be present in the different areas of the world, and we have missed a lot attending these kind of forums that are very important for the diversification of the economy in Mexico. So as much as we need angel investors, we also need a kind of such a government angels. You know, you have to also be keen to the idea of promoting the entrepreneurs and to helping them in order for their investments to thrive. So in this regard, we must find cooperation links between all the agencies of the federal government administration in promoting economic development, the benefits that the whole society can benefit from. And with the closure of these, the former Economic Promotion Agency, we really want to make a triad of work that are promoting in the same way the investments for Mexico. So we, with great pride, I can say that the Mexican Ministry of Foreign Affairs that now has signed collaboration agreements with, first, the Ministry of Economy, but also the Mexican Business Council for Foreign Trade, the COMCE, and the National Bank for Foreign Trade of Mexico. Joined together with the Office of the Presidents, the President has built up a new Council for Economic Promotion, and in all these offices, we are working together on 5 sectors that we want to drive force of the Mexican economy, that are the agribusiness, automotive, aerospace, pharmaceutical, and information industries. So the specific actions are going to be proposed to promote these 5 sectors, and I want to finish this intervention saying that today we want to really achieve our relations with other countries, not just taking into account how much we are selling or how much dollars we are trading, but also how many countries and how many economies are involved in the new strategy. We do need also to develop an international dialogue between public and private institutions to strengthen their cooperation, and maybe amongst us is going to be the next groundbreaking idea, the next Starbucks, or the next good network of knowledge that we are going to share for the first century. We have to think on the future of our relationships, and not just in the very present gains or profits that we need to take.
Okay, thank you very much. Mexico is really very active in supporting startups. I would like to congratulate you and thank you as well, giving importance to business angels and venture capital. Our next speaker is His Excellency Edward Shalsi, Minister of State for the Protection of Entrepreneurship of the Republic of Albania. But the name of the ministry, Protection of Entrepreneurship. So this is the first, I guess. I mean, I never heard of it. This kind of protection of entrepreneurship. So could you a bit explain this as well? But I mean, I would like to hear from you as well a success story. As far as I know, you have a success story of your own in Albania. And of course, for startups, the most important thing is to have an access to finance. I mean, what do you think of that? I mean, how you had an access? I mean, how come you had this access, with in your success story? Could you explain a bit as well? Please, floor is yours.
Well, first of all, let me thank you for the invitation. It's great to be here. It's great to be back in Istanbul. Someone asked me before where Albania. Where is Albania? Albania is a small country, around 3 million inhabitants, 28,000 meters square, beautiful beaches, rocky, sandy, mountains, beautiful lakes, rivers, you can go rafting. So it's small, but it offers a lot of things. Thank you for asking me the question, because when I became Minister for Protection of the Enterprise, I was congratulated by friends living abroad. And the first question I was facing was, Edward, who do you protect the business from? And I was saying, we're protecting the business from ourselves, which means Albania is undergoing huge reforms in the last 5-6 years. Health, education, energy, territorial reform. We have 400 municipalities, we have 61 now. But on top of the reforms is the judicial one. Because the country was suffering during the communist regime, many years. The post-democracy didn't build up a proper justice system. So we decided not to restructure, not to improve the system, but to knock it down and to build it from the beginning. It's taking 4 or 5 years, as a matter of fact, but it's a vetting process with leaving aside many prosecutors corrupted and many judges. So in this situation, we thought it would be important to have a ministry taking care and protecting the business. But what do I mean? What's my daily job? When I was appointed, I set up several priorities. But discussing with the business, analyzing the complaints, suggestions, I realized that there was a lack of communication between public institutions and the businesses. And following up different complaints, I thought that there was a difference between, and a lack of communication between different state-owned institutions. So we were analyzing, and we saw that we need a better communication. How we going to better communicate? Technology, information allows you a lot of things. We pay visit to the businesses. We bring businesses to the ministry. We have a room, and the businesses don't need to knock at the door. We put in front of each other different public directors or managers with the private sector. And sometimes, although they speak Albanian, they can't communicate with each other, because they don't see each other they see each other only from their own perspective. And here came the idea. When I was meeting different businessmen, bigs, medium size, I came across to some very talented guys, very young, who told me that, that we are very involved in the startup industry. I said, industry? Do we have a startup industry in Albania? As a matter of fact, not. They told us that they needed a legal framework. They needed to know where we're going, what we're aiming at. As a matter of fact, I didn't have any answer. I was not involved before. But what we did was that we brought every actor possible in the table and started to share ideas and discuss with each other. And now we have a draft law and also a document of policies that are paving the way towards an ecosystem. In the center of Tirana, there is a building in the form of the eagle. Albania flag has a double-head eagle. And in 1985, the dictator died. And the architects built this building as a mausoleum to pay tribute to him. Since then, it has changed a lot of functions. It's in deteriorating conditions. And it was a huge debate to have a parliament, to have a cultural center to have what? There were also from those who said that it was built for the dictator. We should knock it down. Today, we're very glad because it's going to serve as a huge hub. It's 3,000 meters square. It's going to be the same building with a new design designated for the youth to spend after school time or to serve as a place where people can communicate, people can be trained, people can be lectured. So we want this pyramid, which was a symbol, ugly symbol of the, let's say, the post-regime, now to be a future on innovation. But concluding, I'll say that, and you giving us, I want to thank you because I met some people I look forward to contact with because it's very important, the communication. It's communication that I keep saying to my staff because from the lack of it, a lot of misunderstandings happens. You know, we don't understand each other because we speak on different perspectives. We don't put ourselves on the other's shoes, let's say. If these talented guys were not coming at our offices, if we didn't listen to them, we couldn't have started a process which I'm pretty sure that will be a successful one. And thank you for the opportunity. It's not that we have done for the startups in Albania anything big, but we're very optimistic that we are paving the way and we are on the right track to build an ecosystem as we envision it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank all of our speakers, all of our guests. We had limited time. That's why I have to end our roundtable discussion. But before I end this roundtable discussion, I just want to summarize of what our speakers had said. Briefly, what they said is that improving, enhancing, and strengthening the ecosystem of business angel and venture capital means economic development, increasing wealth, decreasing disparities, making profit, happiness, social and cultural integration. That is, I guess, what it means. Thank you very much for all of you, all the audience, and speakers as well. Thank you.